Hi, so you're considering geese. I absolutely love them. I think they are some of the best pets that you can have, whether you have a large garden or if you live on a homestead or on a small holding. That being said, they are definitely not for everyone. So we'll go through all of the reasons why and some of the things that I wish I had known about before getting them. We actually have quite a few here now. I'm just looking around to count them all, but we have 11 currently, and this is our smallest, most new addition to the farm. And she's absolutely special, aren't you? Hey, are you okay? Yes. So you might be wondering if you have the appropriate setup to be able to keep geese. And the truth is, they are actually so much easier and so much more hassle-free to keep compared to chickens. And I think that normally surprises people because you would assume that a bigger bird means more work, but not at all. That being said, obviously it does heavily depend on the environment that you wish to keep them in. But as you can see, Chester and Lucy are over there with Mo having a nice nap. And they really appreciate the trees that we've got here because I keep them in an orchard. It's about 3/4 of an acre and there are 11 of them, and they absolutely thrive in the environment here because not only do they have the shelter that I mentioned, the fruit trees, so the apples and the pears, the plums, when it comes up to midsummer or harvest, when you know, windy weather or maggots or whatever it might be that causes the fruit to drop off early, the geese actually eat, and in turn they fertilise the land and the trees ready for next year's harvest. So it's amazing, and there's always stuff going on here. There's always, you know, different plants growing and things for them to eat. So in truth, I feed them very, very little. Throughout winter, that's an exception. So the 3 months of winter that is the most difficult, with there being no nutrients in the grass, I do supplement with some pellet, and that's the only thing. But really, they are so easy to keep, and they can just be left to their own devices throughout the day, which is brilliant. The really, really important thing to consider is noise, and if that's going to be a problem for you. But I have found in my experience that it really does heavily depend on breed of goose that you choose. And it also depends on the environment that you are going to provide for them. Gosh, it's windy here today. We do have a couple of neighbours just over the back, and if the geese were to make a racket, they can absolutely hear them. And fortunately, they don't mind noise at all, which we are lucky. We're lucky for. When it comes to mess with geese, they're really not as bad as ducks, who are renowned for dirtying their water as soon as you put it out. And they also don't make mud or slurry the way that ducks do if they have access to wet ground. They will just simply trim grass from the tip, as opposed to digging with their beak and drilling into the ground. So they won't cause the same damage at all. While it's not necessary if you'll be keeping them in an area that is fully electric fenced off and completely predator proof, it's very important that they also have somewhere to go at night. And an old dog kennel is great because they've got a section to go indoors should they want to, and also outdoors in the summer. Or you can even use it to split family groups in two. So that actually will house 2 groups for me, Chester and Lucy in one, and then my other pair, Mo and Wiggle, will be on the right. But something like this is also perfect. I have 2 of these, so I have 3 geese in one, and then I also have 4 in the other currently. But as soon as the goslings grow, they will be swapping around into the most suitable sized houses. On the topic of livestock, they are also excellent to graze alongside horses, as well as sheep, because each type of animal only grazes grass to a certain length. So horses will graze it, and then you put sheep on to graze the grass shorter, and then geese will go in afterwards. And they actually are supposedly helpful at worm control, pest management in that way. Interestingly as well, I think a lot of people are drawn to geese who have land and other poultry because there seems to be a bit of a, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a myth, but I think a lot of people think that by raising geese alongside chickens that they make for very good flock protection. And while this is true to some extent, they are very vocal. So if they see something they're not impressed with, or that they see as a threat, then they will make a noise. But at the end of the day, birds of a feather, they are only really interested in keeping one another safe of the same species. So when it comes to chickens, it doesn't always work out, and raising one gosling alongside a group of chicks definitely isn't fair, because they are totally different birds and their needs are completely different. So there is that to be aware of. We also keep turkeys as well as quail and ducks, and obviously we have chickens too, and they all cohabit very well. But there is a risk that you take with geese, especially during breeding season, if they are in an area that's not suitable for them. So if it's too small and you're trying to force them to cohabit with chickens, then there can be aggression issues there. So you have to be mindful of that and have separate areas during the spring and summer. There's been lots of cases where geese have actually been able to kill a chicken. So I think your best bet is to raise a flock of goslings yourself alongside, or at least, you know, within a sociable distance to adult chickens, because they gradually work their way up the pecking order that way without too many problems. And again, go for the more gentle breeds, because they all have a phase where they like to challenge, and that goes without saying, especially with their handlers. But they all have such unique personalities, and I absolutely love it. You honestly, you get to know them all by how they are. Some of them are more shy, some of them are more moody, some of them only care about food. They see me and they come running over, and it's really quite fun. So yeah, they're just brilliant, really. So hopefully you enjoyed, and if you have any questions at all, then please do pop them down below in the comments and I shall get back to you. Good luck making a decision, and I will see you in the next video.